Welcome to the OnePlan webinar about the cycling and running pack. My name is Philippe Bordarias. I am Major Event Director for OnePlan, and I'll be your host today. So during this webinar, I'll show you a demo of the platform with special focus on the cycling and running pack. In the second part, we'll have an interview of Andy Hawes, who is the route director of the Tour of Britain, which is the biggest cycling event in the UK. And then in the third part, you'll be able to ask your question about the platform. But before I start with my demo, a bit of history. OnePlan was created 3 years ago, and its founder was a senior consultant in major sport events. So he worked on, Olympic Games, World Championship, etc., etc. So he had been obviously gone through the pain of developing plans, event plans with non-specialist tools such as CAD and SketchUp, Google Earth. And he thought that there must be a better solution. So that's when he decided that he would create a platform that would be easy to use and intuitive, so anybody can use it without any kind of training. A platform that would be scalable, meaning that you can organize both very small events, such as a wedding, and major events, such as Olympic Games. Also, a platform that would allow you to share your events very easily without having to go through all the version issues that we mentioned before. And a platform that would be low cost. OnePlan was born. So now I'm going to show you a demo about OnePlan. So, first of all, OnePlan is a freemium SaaS product, meaning that you can open an account for free. You go to oneplanevents.com and you just sign up. You create your event, and you can create one event for free that will allow you to play with the platform and get into the platform before you decide if you want to subscribe. And then when you subscribe, it costs $70 a month. And because it's a subscription model, you can switch on and switch off your subscription whenever you want. Once you have created your account, you have access to your dashboard. So this is my dashboard. It's basically my library of events on the left. So all these events are either mine or they have been shared with me. So when I click on an event, for example, here, Champs-Élysées GP, I just open the event, and it takes me to the actual event. So OnePlan is actually a very simple tool. It's a combination of a map, which is Google Map or Google Satellite, or can be in some part of the world, can be high definition, in the US, for example, and a menu on the left that contains icons, polygons, and items. So if I go through the menu, what do we have there? So first of all, at the top, I have the list of events, of objects, that I've placed on my event. So for example, if I go to audiovisual, I can see that I have a lot of PA speakers. And when I click on it, it takes me to the PA speakers. And I can, if I want, switch on and switch off these categories. If I don't want to see the speakers, I just switch it off. So that's my list of objects. Then I have also an imports menu that allows me to import Gpx files, which is very, very useful for cycling and running events, because you can then create your route on Strava or Map My Ride, for example, and then you download the Gpx file that you then upload to OnePlan. So this way you don't have to create your route manually. Then under these two sections, you have all the objects that you can place on the map. So for example, here in areas, route and access, I have a lot of different areas, borderless, opaque, etc. I have parking. And then if I want, for example, to create a parking, I just take it on the menu. I just put it on the map this way. Then I've created this map. If it fits on the map, it fits in reality because everything on OnePlan is at scale. So this parking, for example, fits here. On the right side, you can see that the platform provides me with information. So for example, here it's a parking. So it tells me that this parking is 803 square meters, that if I decide that it's a two-way parking and I have 2 people per car, I can have 27 cars in this parking and 54 people. So behind a very simple interface, there is a very powerful engine that provides a lot of data and analytics. If I go down the menu, you can create routes, and you can also put some objects, like here, for example, access point pedestrian that you can move. When you place an object, you can see here that they have a coordinate called 3 words coordinate. It's basically a GPS coordinate, but much easier to use. So, for example, when you go and build your event, you go on a site visit and you say, okay, I want my access point pedestrian just between the 2 lampposts here. What you have to do then, you have your What3 Was app that is free to download. You take the What3 Words coordinate, and when you go back to your desk, you just type the What3 Words coordinate, and it tells you where to place the icon. So there is no guessing or mistakes anymore. So if I go down, you have infrastructures, you have cabins, lighting, marquees, a lot of waste management, a lot of vehicles. You have some tools that allow you to visualize things, and I'm going to show you something that is quite cool, I think. You have some measuring tools that allow you to create, more analytical and data objects. You can place workforce, such as medical, police, security, branding. You can even place furniture, such as tables, chairs, etc., etc. So a very comprehensive list of event-specific items and polygons. Then when you go to the More section, that's where you find the packs. Packs are basically customized menu for specific event of sport. So here, for example, we have cycling. In cycling, I'm going to have the same kind of menu, but all the objects are specific to cycling. For example, if I go to sectors, I would have sector gravel, sector cobbles for a Paris-Roubaix, for example, sector sprints, all sectors that the route director would have to create when he planned the event. I'll have also a lot of route race, for example, senior route race senior men. So if I place it on the map, it creates my route for the route race senior men that I can change the name. I can call it route number 2, for example. And then it gives you the possibility to enter speeds, like slow speed for the slowest rider, fast speed for the fastest rider, and it tells you how long it's going to take them to race the route. Then if I go down the menu, I have a timing section, finish line, accreditation areas, I have infrastructures with a lot of barriers and fencing. I can also place temporary stands. I have vehicles such as the president of the commissaire cars, car commissaire, caravan, etc., etc. I can put camera positions and medical. For the running pack, it's exactly the same. So for example, if I go to areas, route and access, I can create my waves, at the beginning in the start pens. So the same way as I did with the parking, I create my wave. And then here I can say that if I want like 4.2 people per square meters, it will tell me exactly the number of people that I can have in this wave. So very specific to running. In infrastructure, I'll have things such as runner welfare and, for example, a shower truck that I can place on the map. I'll have trackways, branding, and signage. For example, signage competitors with crossing points, alternative routes, no public access. I'll have signage traffic with a lot of different signage. It's the same principle as for the generic menu, but with sport-specific object and icons. Now, one of the things that I like to show, because I find it quite cool, is a visualization tool. So for example, I'm organizing my event and I've noticed a pothole in the road. So when I go there, I take the what 3 words, and then when I'm back to my desk, I just upload the photo so that I can say to my collaborators that there is a pothole and this needs to be fixed. So for example, I can share it with the city council. So one of those other things that is quite important with OnePlan is that you can share your event very easily. And the way you share it is just entering the email of the person you want to share it with. So for example, here, I've shared this event with a lot of different people, and you can give them several accesses. For example, view only, edit only, or you can allow them to modify the event or even modify and share. And this is, people can view the event even if they don't have an account. So that's quite handy. So this was a cycling event, but I can also show you, for example, a running event. So this event is in Manchester, and the event creator has created the routes, included some sectors, management sectors, and then I will show you now the finish area. And as for every finish area, you can see that there is a finish arch, there are ambulance here, there are speakers, camera, there is access points, and then there is a village. In the village, he has placed, a stage, a presentation stage with speakers. He has restaurants, and he has food truck, table, charity tents, etc., etc. So really, this platform is absolutely spot on when you want to organize running event, because you have all the objects you need. Finally, the last thing I'd like to show you in this demo is what we call the bill of quantities. Every time you place an object or a polygon in an event, all the objects are accounted for in the bill of quantities. So you can see at any time all the objects that you have placed in the event. So for example, you could see all the areas that you have placed, all the DG position, the large screen truck, etc. And you can also see all the data that you have entered. The data that you can enter is, for example, the supplier name or the cost. And this allows you to know at any time how much you are spending in fences, for example, or how much you are spending globally in this event. You can export this list in an Excel spreadsheet that will allow you to share it with anybody you want. So it's quite a useful tool to plan events. So this was a very brief snapshot of OnePlan. Now, as I said before, we are going to have an interview of Andy Hawes, who is route director of the Tour of Britain. So we are getting now to the exciting part of this webinar, because we have Andy Hawes with us from SweetSpot. Andy is a route director for SweetSpot, and SweetSpot is a company that organizes the Tour of Britain, the Women's Tour, and the Tour Series in the UK, which are the biggest event in the UK and one of the biggest event in the world. So that's quite exciting. And SweetSpot have partnered with OnePlan to develop the cycling pack. So the cycling pack has been really built with knowledge and expertise of some of the best event organizers in the world. So that's quite exciting. So Andy, how are you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you very much, Philippe. That's quite an introduction. Thank you.
So you are a route director for all these very, very big events. So what does it mean? What do you do exactly?
I ask myself that question almost every day. So basically, I'm the person who designs the actual stages of the Women's Tour and the Tour of Britain, and also I have an input into the circuit design for the Tour series. So basically, it's our commercial team decide where the starts and finishes of our events are going to be, and then basically, in simple terms, I join the dots up. So I create a safe racing route from the start location all the way to the finish location.
Wow! So I'm sure you must know the good cycling road in the UK, all the good spot to go.
Yeah, I'm fairly familiar with a lot of areas within the UK and roads that make good racing roads, shall we say? So, but yeah, it's I know that was quite possibly a simplistic view of overview of what I do. But yeah, it's exactly that. It's just I join the dots up almost.
Well, that's quite a cool job. So, well, I was wondering, how do you become route director? You know, if I want to become route director, what do I have to do?
I think like many jobs in the industry that we work in, it's almost like right place at the right time. And I started working with SweetSpot way back in February 2010 with the route director at the time, Graham Jones, a former professional racing cyclist. He was a very good cyclist from the UK. So I was working closely with Graham in my sort of early years working with SweetSpot, and Graham moved jobs in 2011, and it's because I was the closest as I'd been working with him so closely. They SweetSpot asked me if I wanted to take on the role as route director, and I jumped at the chance. So yeah, so I've been sort of route director since mid 2011. So I've designed many stages of the Tour of Britain, and I've designed all of the stages of the women's tour as that only started back in 2014. So yeah, it's I've got a background in cycling. I've been a cyclist all of my life, over 40 years now, and I raced to a reasonable level and understand how a bike race ebbs and flows. So yeah, it's I'm very fortunate. Yeah, there's no course in any universities, I believe, to become a route director.
Yeah. Okay. So cycling events, like running events actually, but I think cycling events are arguably one of the most challenging event to organize. Because they're very long field of play, public spaces, closed roads. So, but what are the key challenges that you face when you actually create a route?
I think the key challenges for me, it has to be safe. It really does, because one analogy that I do use quite a lot is these are professional athletes. So being a professional athlete, this is their job. They're going to work. So like any of us that work in an office environment, in fact anywhere, not like if you're working on the side of the road or wherever, in a factory, in an office, in a school, you want it to be safe. You wouldn't want to go to work in somewhere that's an unsafe environment. And so for me, that's the key priority here, is that the race route is safe for the riders to be able to carry out their job, because at the end of the day, it is their job. So picking a route that I know would be safe, or if it isn't safe, that I can do sort of like mitigation to make sure that it is safe. That's quite a key area of my job. It's very easy to sort of draw a line on a map and say, right, we're going to race from here to here, but it's actually how we get the race from point A to point B. So yeah, it's a fairly sort of drawn out experience. It takes several months of planning with various different sort of authorities, depending on where we are in the country. So, but yeah, it's as you say, it's a little bit not too dissimilar from a running race, but the lengths of the stages is where it does differ. Okay,
yeah. Safety and security has been quite a hot topic recently in cycling events, in particular in the Tour de France, where you had this spectator with this very big sign and and big crash. So obviously now, since we started to work together, SweetSpot is using OnePlan to plan all your events. How how OnePlan does help you to make your route safer.
So obviously, as you said, you know, we've joined forces with OnePlan just this year. So how it's going to make things a lot easier for us is how we're going to be able to demonstrate to the local authorities, not necessarily the guys that are going to be in the race, because there's another option that they have access to that's very, very, very specific to cycling. But this OnePlan for us is very much about working with our stakeholders, who are, you know, the majority of them are sort of local authorities, and being able to share with them, you know, by almost real time, as it were, you know, that we can change the plans in front of them if needs be, you know, it's and showing them where we want cone lines and you know, where our infrastructure is going to go, and dropping it live onto a Google map is just a bit of a revelation for us. Because in the past we would have used a CAD drawer to draw these plans up for us, and then any revisions would have had to go back to him. Then they come back to us to be checked, and you know, that you know, really slowed the process down. But by using OnePlan now, you know, if we're in a safety advisory group meeting or a technical meeting, we can actually change things live there and then in front of people, and so that they can understand, and to a degree we can get across what we're trying to get across to them, and showing them that, you know, we do understand what you're saying to us, and this is what we're going to do to make sure, you know, that it's safe for us. So yeah, you know, I know it's a big word to use, revolutionized, but it's made our lives a lot easier.
Okay, well, that's very interesting. So yeah, because communication obviously is very important. You know, it's not only about drawing the plans; it's also communicating, and so OnePlan is one source of truth, and you can share it with anybody you want, and you can work remotely with all these stakeholders. So you mentioned that the stakeholders are the city council, but I guess, what are the other key stakeholders? The police, the suppliers?
Yeah, so occasionally, you know, in the big safety advisory group meetings that we have, there's always representation from the emergency services, so the police, fire, and ambulance. They're always in these meetings. Traffic management companies, they're in the meetings with us as well, and so that we can explain how the race is going to move through any particular area. It's really handy to be able to, you know, pull up onto a big screen like a Google map that everybody's very familiar with, and then, you know, we can put our infrastructure in place, or we can put the traffic management in place, or we can, you know, we certainly can show where the race route is going and which direction it's going to take, for example, around a roundabout. So yeah, it's very useful in that sense, and also from that, obviously we're then able to share that OnePlan with them so that they can view it, and obviously, again, going back to when we was having CAD drawings done, you know, it's we could share a PDF, but, you know, we're sharing like an electronic file with them, or a link, and they've got access almost straight away. So yeah, it's a big thing for us, and I think it will only enhance the service that we currently provide our stakeholders. You know, because sometimes, you know, with the best will in the world, you know, you've come back from a meeting, and certainly everybody's on Teams these days, or Zoom meetings, and, you know, by sharing your screen and making the changes there and then, you know, that's a big thing for some of our stakeholders, because they might, you know, you could, depending on our CAD drawer and how busy he was, we might end up waiting sort of a week, 10 days for another draft to come back to us. So for us to be able to do it ourselves, and, you know, it's intuitive. I mean, I know we spent some time with you just going through things at the very beginning, but I think other than that, maybe the hour that we spent together, everybody that's using it in the minute is like learning as they go on how to use OnePlan. So yeah, it's not like you need like 5 or 6 hours worth of, you know, tuition. You know, you can pick it up very, very quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. You're a good salesperson for OnePlan. I like it. You know, I've actually had a sneaky look at all the events that you have developed in your account in OnePlan, and are quite impressive, because they are like very, very long stages.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, the level of detail that you put in the starting area, in the starting city, and the finish area. What is actually the most difficult for you in terms of planning and organization? Is it the start and finish villages, or the actual route?
I guess it's not to take too much away from my job. Obviously, I'm sort of like gonna say the route's the most difficult, but it's actually one of the easier aspects of it, because finding a start location, and even more so finding a finish location that has everything that we require. So the space, for about 160 vehicles, both at the start and the finish, we have to find that space. A suitable finish straight that's maybe 600 to 800 meters long, with no central reservations or anything like that. That's getting increasingly difficult to find in this country, because the traffic islands, splitters and bollards are becoming more prevalent. So I mean, finding these areas, so the start and the finish areas, it is becoming difficult. But with OnePlan, we can literally, if somebody said to us, like, we're going to look in such and such an area. So I don't know. Let's say that we're going to look in Buckinghamshire, and straight away in Buckinghamshire, we can just zoom in using OnePlan, and then drop our infrastructure into these towns to actually see if it fits, because obviously the infrastructure that we have and the cycling pack within OnePlan is all drawn to scale, so we can instantly see if we can fit 18 team coaches into that area. And if we can't fit 18 team coaches in, right, okay, so what else do we need? And you can start planning around that. So for us, it's going to make road trips not necessarily a thing of the past, because obviously we will still need to go out and get our boots on the ground and have a look and see if we can actually physically do it. But it makes it a lot easier to tick venues off straight away, saying no, we can't actually do that because we don't have the space there, or yes, this works straight away because we've put like all of our infrastructure in OnePlan, and yes, and we know that it fits. So yeah, it's an incredible tool.
Wow, yeah, that's true. So the time is flying really, because it's a very interesting subject. I have maybe one last question. We have a client. One of our big clients is World Triathlon, and World Triathlon, they use OnePlan to not only plan all their events, but also they use it for local organizers to communicate with their technical director or commissaires, and the commissaires can check in advance the route. And is it something that you do with British Cycling or the UCI when you organize? Do you have to share these plans or share information?
It's certainly something that we have to share. We have to share all the information that we have with the UCI, the World Governing Body of cycling, and that information has to go out to the commissaires before they start the race, and also it has to go to the UCI for their sort of like event safety processes. So it will be the first time that we're going to be able to share this information with them electronically on a map. Usually they would just get the PDFs of the CAD plans. They would see our event management plans, which they will still see, but they will get the added bonus of actually seeing something that we've drawn using OnePlan, which will hopefully show not just the start area and the finish area, but we'll also have the route included on it as well. So it will be a new thing for them, and it'll be a new thing for us. I think certainly for this year, I think we're just going to utilize it more for the starts and the finish areas, because adding that information in for the routes, we will probably add the routes in, but whether we add technical information into that as well at this precise moment in time, we're a little bit unsure. But if we do, it will be very much they're out on the route if there's a specific area that we need additional support traffic management. So for example, we used a very, very busy roundabout on one of the stages in Essex on the women's tour last year, and we had to contract a traffic management company in to basically, I had to draw on a Google map. So basically I did my own sort of like analog version of OnePlan. So I screenshotted Google Maps and then drew on it what I wanted, and then sent it to the traffic management company. They then transposed that into a CAD drawing, send it back to me. And so the whole process took sort of like 3 or 4 days to do. But now with OnePlan, I can zoom into that roundabout, draw exactly what I want, send a link straight to the traffic management company, and boom, it's there. So yeah, from that perspective, that's where OnePlan really is gonna come in handy for us. But from a route perspective, maybe not so much, because it's not something that we would look to share with the riders, because the detail that we give the riders is a little bit more than OnePlan can give us at this time. But as I say, we're developing this cycling specific package. So who's to say what's around the corner?
Exactly, I agree with you. So listen, and thanks so much. I really enjoyed this interview, and I think the people who will attend the webinar will have enjoyed it a lot. So listen, good luck for this year.
Thank you.
I definitely look forward to maybe attending one of the stages of the Women Tour this year. So
good. We'll be disappointed if you're not on the roadside.
Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you.
And we are back to live. Always wanted to say that. Always wanted to work for TV. So I hope you enjoyed this interview. Personally, I really enjoyed it. Andy has a wealth of experience about events, and he's really enjoying the experience of working with OnePlan. So now that's the Q&A part of the webinar. So I'll just have a look at the question that we have now. So, how much does OnePlan cost? So as I said in my demo, OnePlan is a freemium product. So it means that you can create an account for free, and then you can create an event, one event for free. So it allows you to play with it and get familiar with the platform. Then if you want to subscribe, the professional pack is $70 per month, and give access to OnePlan to one user, and you can obviously switch it on and off if you don't need to use it. So there was a question that is very often asked to me in demos is, can you share an event with somebody who doesn't have a OnePlan account? So the answer is yes, because basically when you share your event, you can you send a link to the person you want to share it with, and the person just had to click on the link, and will take them to the event, and they will be able to see it in view only. If you want this person to be able to edit the event, then this person will need an account and will need a subscription. You can also give this person the right to share this event with somebody else. So I have another question that is actually very relevant for US customers. Can you only measure lines in meters or feet? Well, you can do both. There is a switch in OnePlan that allows you to see all the measurements in both meters, or either in meters or feet. Another question for Rob Brown: is there a way to add in a small text label box next to icon? So yes, the answer is yes. Every time you place an object in the platform, you have a menu, kind of a menu on the right, and you can include a free text that you can place wherever you want on the object or around the object. So yes, and you can also include, if you want, additional free text. You have like a post-it option, for example, that allows you to put text on the event, or you can just put free text on the event. Now we have a question for Twan Verbeek that says, authorities in the Netherlands still want a PDF of the start and finish location. Is it still possible to make a PDF of the start and finish location? A very good question. So as I mentioned before, one of the very powerful way of sharing an event is using the share feature that allows you to share the event, just introducing the email of the person you want to share the event with. But you can also take photos of part of your event, and then this goes directly into a PDF format that you can share with anybody you want via email, file transfer, or whatever you want. We are also developing an export feature that will allow you to create templates of output or reports in PowerPoint or PDF that we'll be able to share with external parties. Malcolm Grant is asking, do you have any plans to link to Strava? Well, not at the moment. And the reason is that OnePlan allows you to import Gpx files. So what you can do is you can plot your route on Strava or Map My Ride or Garmin Connect, and then you just download the Gpx file and then you upload it to OnePlan, and the route will be automatically in OnePlan. So we don't have any plan now to have a direct connection. That's something we could consider in the future if our customers feel that it's important for them. Waiting for more questions. Maybe let's give people. It's a lot to take, to be honest. It's a very condensed demo. So I just want to say something that I didn't mention in the demo, is that here we have been talking about outdoor events, but you can do exactly the same with indoor events. For example, if you are in a velodrome, for example, an event in a velodrome, a cycling event in a velodrome, or if we have a track and field event in an indoor stadium, you can do exactly the same, because you can import CAD's plans into OnePlan, and then you just have to plot your event above your CAD. You can switch on and off the CADs, but you can still plan on the top of it. So that's how OnePlan is being used by a lot of stadiums around the world, and they just import one CAD per floor, and they plot they plan on the CADs. So that's another way to use OnePlan. In terms of integration, we obviously are looking in the future in linking to other applications, but again, at the moment we haven't confirmed anything. But obviously, there's a lot of very exciting event organization apps that we could work with in the future. Let's see if there are more questions. So maybe I'm going to mention one of the features that actually was required by our expert in running is a possibility to create waves for the start of running events. So now you can create up to 5 waves at the start of your event, and then when you place your polygon, it's a polygon like a parking. You can decide how many people per square meter you want in your wave, and it will tell you the capacity of this wave area. Okay, I have another question from Twan. there are a lot of objects in the menu. If we miss an object, for example, an inflatable arch, is it possible to create an object by yourself? So the answer is no, but we are a very customer-focused company. So if a customer asks us to create an object or include an object in the menu, and we feel that it makes sense for this event, but also could would make sense for all the event organizer, we'll do it without any problem, and it take really little time to do it. So so yes, we can do it, but it has to go through us. I have a comment from Rob. I've found that when I'm making very detailed fencing lines, sometimes the grab points becomes too large when I'm zoomed in very closely, and it's hard to see the exact spacing of the fence. If there was a way those could scale down once the user hit a certain degree of zooming in, that could be helpful. Well, that's a very good feedback, and obviously I think I would love to have more details about this particular point, but that's something that we can definitely consider, and that's exactly the kind of feedback we want to know, because at the end of the day, we want to make the experience for our customers the best possible. So Rob, what I suggest that maybe drop me an email and we can have a Zoom session whereby we discuss this particular point. But thanks a lot for this feedback. It's very good. Let's wait. Do we have more questions from the floor? Yeah, another question from Andy. When drawing a race route, it is easy to accidentally end the line, especially if shaping around a corner. Is there any way to continue drawing a route rather than just moving the end point and having to manipulate the grab point? Let me read it again. Is it easy to end the line? Yes. Yeah, so I mean, once we have, and again, Andy, if I'll try to answer your question. If I don't answer your question, please reach out to me and we can discuss it over the phone or in a Zoom meeting. When you create a route manually, yeah, it's very easy, as you say, to just stop it at the wrong point. But then when you double click on it, you have a lot of small point that appears on the route, and you just have to take the last point and you continue the plotting of the route the way you have done it before. It's a very versatile way of editing and modifying your route. It takes a bit of using it to actually to be able to do it very quickly. But honestly, it takes 5 minutes, and then it's a very good tool. So and if you need a bit more information about it, please drop me a line. But I understand what you're saying, because at the beginning it was like strange. Then very quickly you understand it, and it's very easy to do. Another comment from Rob. Of course, I love the product and want to help make it even better. Also, I concur with Andy's comment. I've come across that challenge. Yeah. So yeah, no problem, Rob. We could have like a chat to discuss it. But yeah, it takes a bit of time to understand how this works. But it's actually, when you know, it's very powerful. Andy, no, I think it was clear. Don't worry. Sorry, maybe that one wasn't clear. No, but it was. Some of the things that's also a tool that I mentioned in my demo, the cobble sectors and also the gravel sectors and the feeding sectors. These are very important sectors in cycling events. And you can actually now, with the tool we have in the sectors we have in the cycling in OnePlan, you can wrap your routes with a sector. So that's actually very handy. I've talked to a couple of cycling organizers and say it's quite handy, because then you know exactly, you can show and you can share with all your stakeholders where these sectors are actually are in the big event. And you know, cycling events, a cycling race can be 200 kilometers long, so it's very difficult actually if you don't have one plan, you know, to be able to place all the, you know, the road furnitures and all the hazards on the road. So so all these tools are quite useful. Okay, so I don't see any more questions. So I really hope you enjoyed this webinar. And again, if you have any question, just drop me or any of my collaborators at OnePlan your question, and we will be delighted to have a meeting or a demo with you. So have a great day or evening, and see you soon. Oh, sorry. Oh, wow. I have another question that's just coming up. So we had from Malcolm, we had a quick overview from one of our staff, which was helpful. Wondering from a post-event aspect, if it's possible to add in comment boxes so that future events can adapt. The answer is yes. You have, as I said before, you have you can have free text on the event, or you can have, or you can add post-its, or you can also add labels. So yes, you can put any comments you may want on the event, and it's something that is really useful in terms of knowledge transfer. In particular, you know, for national federations or international federation who give, you know, they have their national championship in one place one year, and the year after it's in another city. It's actually very handy for them to show to the future organizers how the previous organizers did it in terms of planning. And OnePlan allow that, because you can just share your event with a new organizer, and they see and they can see, you know, how it was done in the previous year. So it's quite useful in terms of knowledge management. So thank you, Malcolm, for this great question. Listen, thanks a lot again. You will be able to see this recording again. It will be posted on YouTube. And again, if you have any question, do not hesitate to reach out to me or any of my colleagues at OnePlan. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.